Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Well, Dusty, we are on, man. This is our first ever Breakfast with X Sports. As you can tell, I have no clue what I'm doing. We got everything shifted from one system to another. And we are just rolling with the punches right now. Our first ever Breakfast with X Sports. Man, we've had a pretty busy week.
We have.
Last couple days, especially with everything going on with high school sports. You know, our first time we're doing this here on a Sunday morning at 8:30 in the morning.
8:30 and nice overcast morning.
I know. No hat on your head.
No hat.
We're
Well,
getting ready to go to church.
Getting ready to go to church. Actually, I've been to church this morning.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm head of security, so I had to run by Kroger and get a case of Sun Drops for the guys and get them on the cooler and all that. But, yeah, so we're starting out a busy morning.
Yeah, busy morning. Busy week it's been for everybody. We've had Summertown baseball, softball. We're down at Orange Beach. And then we had Lawrence County baseball was joining them as well. Loretto baseball played 4 games this week. Won all 4, did a great job. I was with Loretto softball yesterday, played in a tournament there in Muscle Shoals, and everybody. It's opening week. You know, we kind of mixed it with the boys' state tournament and all the craziness. I don't know what, the deep run. Not only did Santa Fe make it to the semifinals, Frank Hughes just down the road,
right across the river.
This made it to the state championship game. What an incredible week it's been for high school sports in the area.
It has, and it's spread out all over the United States in the South anyways. And it's kind of, I guess some people don't realize, but you come straight out of basketball, just right into to softball.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, like some of our boys, we made a little run, so some of our boys have been practicing baseball, trying to get in some shots on the gym floor as well. Just a lot of stuff, just back and forth, and hats off to everybody who has to put up with all that traveling and everything, because I don't know how they work. Try to do family life and do that.
Right.
I mean, it's tough as it is.
Not cheap either.
No.
All the traveling she got to do, it's not cheap either.
Not at all.
So, when you talked about, I was with Loretto, and like it felt like half of their lineup was literally playing in a state championship the week before. Lawrence County's boys, some of their starters, you think of Alex Bedford, TJ Gobble, Colton Tucker. I'm sure I'm missing a couple here and there. Those guys were busy the entire time, and now they got to go do that at the same time.
Because especially for baseball players, even though they're very good baseball players, they haven't took any swings.
No, or in-game swings on top of that.
You can go down in the facility. I know they've changed it. It's kind of state of the art. They got all this computer system and everything, but you're still not on the dirt. Some kid on a live mound throwing at you.
Yeah.
And we know how different that is. And for them to take that focus straight from basketball to go down to Florida and put on a show.
Yeah.
Not just them, the whole team. They made the Final Four in a very tough bracket.
4-2 they had one game that wasn't in the tournament as well. And man, that from what they were a year ago, we knew what they were a year ago. They struggled. Clint Wright was a brand new head coach. He was kind of figuring things out. Sure. And now he's got a year under his belt. These guys got a year under their belt with him. What a great start. Start off at 4-2 like that.
And we know the backstory, Clint being a pitcher. Last year it looked good, but man, they were throwing a baseball this past weekend.
They were.
But the MO was, where's the bats going to be? They're going to have to score some runs.
Yeah.
And
it sounds stupid when we say it, just like in basketball. Oh, well, they need to make shots. Well, in baseball, you need to put the bat on the ball. Sounds stupid, but it works every time.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Pitcher needs to throw strikes, let his defense back him up. And on the other hand, you got to hit the baseball, put the ball in play.
Yeah, absolutely. Loretto 4-0 start. They beat they played the Middle Tennessee Monarchs to start things off. Played Marshall County, traditionally a pretty good program. Then they 2-game series. They're not in the same district as Giles County anymore. 2-game series, and took care of business. Giles County's got they got a guy that's going to go play at the University of Georgia, and Carter Kelly, really good left-handed pitcher, and they showed out this week with a 4-0 week.
And I don't want to say that I'm surprised that Loretta's baseball has started out 4-0 because that program has been top notch for the past however many years we can think about. But some of their ball players are basketball players.
Yeah.
And they're the same kind of way, Lawrence County is. They come straight out of basketball, straight into baseball. Hats off to head coach Zach. I couldn't thank Zach and his staff for leading that team like they do. And going to see a big one tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be cold.
Man.
We kind of got spoiled with this weather this week.
Yes. The high is 46, so game time could be close in the high 30s.
Yeah.
By the time game time comes around.
We'll be inside. That's
yeah. Sorry.
That awesome press box they got there in Leather. Let me change something. You're cut off a bit here. We're just flying on the fly here in this, this first installment. Oh yeah, there's the side of my bald head, and I'm going in the wrong direction. This is a great start.
There we go. Get the big
People
guy
see me
in the screen.
They see me enough, so. Yeah, that's going to be fun. The weather's going to be cooled off for everybody coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But let's get into what everybody is loving to talk about. We'll go to NFL free agency later, but let's go to the NCAA tournament. We have had some wild ones. We'll start off with the big boys, but because I'm a huge small conference group of 5 power mid-major with that, those have been nuts. But if you're a Tennessee fan, and since I got Mickey in front of me, that's Hayden's Mickey.
Yeah.
CJ's got a Tennessee Mickey at the house and a West Virginia Mickey. But you're hoping if you're a Vol fan that they just got that bad game of March out of their system, because even though that Mississippi State team, they played their way into the bracket. Joe Lunardi's got them a 9 seed right now. They played their way into the tournament. That was not a great showing that they had on Friday.
I was at work and turned it on and trying to work and watch it. And when I turned it on, I was like, wow, this isn't what I expected.
Yeah.
And so I had to turn it off. I got into work, and then I thought, I'm going to go back and look. And I just put my phone up and looked at the score, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm okay. I'm going to have to finish watching this.
Yeah.
And that was a tail kicking.
Yeah, it was. And Mississippi State beat them twice.
They did.
They beat them once in the regular season, beat them there. And they've kind of got the blueprint, which is if you're going to be physical with them, that's the best way to go. With Auburn and Florida. Florida's played their way into a much better spot in the big dance after doing that. How about the ACC? NC State, I believe, was the 11th or 13th seed going into that tournament and goes all the way and plays their way into it.
Yeah, they won 5 straight games.
That's unreal.
That is, people don't realize how big of a feat that is in itself.
Yeah.
And to do it in the conference championship, wow. Now, hey, that could be one of those teams that can make a run.
Absolutely. And Joe Lunardi's got them as an 11th seed right now. I feel bad, because most of your 6 seeds are pretty decent teams, but kind of fluttered into the tournament. This kind of we're riding on autopilot. Maybe made it to their conference semifinals, more than likely didn't, so they're kind of just skating in there. That's probably the last team you want to see, is a team that won a Power 5 conference and won 5 straight games to get.
Yeah, and being 11th seed, like we just had this talk the other day. You're getting into that kind of a Cinderella right there. They can make a run. Yeah. Because you don't expect 11 seed to do that, but that's going to be a tough one, whoever gets them first.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of this, let's see, we have Oregon won the Pac-12. I'm just going through it here. You had NC State. The Big Ten and the SEC are today. The American, I believe, is today. The Big East is today.
What I got pulled up right here for today on the top 25. It's got Florida and Auburn at 12, and then Illinois and Wisconsin at 2:30.
What's the other?
Go to
scroll back. Go to D1, right there, right below top
Yale and Brown.
And the American, UAB and Temple. Okay.
Hey, and that UAB team,
Yeah.
they're not bad.
No, they're never. They're Andy Kennedy, former SEC head coach. They're always tough. They were tough when I was covering them in Conference USA. When I was covering Marshall, they're a perennial 22, 23 win team. Well, they got 24, I think, on there.
They're 22-11.
22. Yeah, that's a perennial 20
Yeah.
win team. Temple's embroiled in a controversy this week about potential point shaving because some of their
that.
lines have kind of
Fluctuated.
Yeah, like majorly, which is weird. They're playing for a chance to go to the big dance. That's kind of crazy. So we got those games going on. Because I'm looking at the conference breakdown. The Big 12 is going to get 9, and of course my team's not one of them. They were done.
Yeah, they had a tough.
Bob Huggins, he just needs to disappear, take care of his demons. SEC is going to get in 8. The Big 10 is going to get in 6. 8. The Mountain West is going to get in 6. The Mountain West had some incredible basketball this year, and I love to see the mid-major conferences get in with those 6 teams. Let's look at the 6 that Joe had in. I don't think he's going to let me do it, but ACC is only going to get in 4. The Pac-12 in their final year of existence is only going to get in 4. Big East 3, the American 2. West Coast, you don't want to see Gonzaga or St. Mary's, even though Lenardi has NC State playing St. Mary's right off the get-go.
Man, that'd be a game.
That'd be a great game.
That's a featured game right there.
And the A-10 is going to get in 2. So I believe that's just checking. Well, that's not going to take me where I need to go. But also, according to Lenardi right here, the last 4 byes are A&M, Mississippi State, FAU coming off of last year's run in Colorado State. Last 4 in TCU, Michigan State. Michigan State didn't look good at the start of the year, but kind of played their way into it later in the year. Colorado made it to the Pac-12 championship game. You would think if they made it that far in a Power 5 conference, they're going to find their way in. Oklahoma. First 4 out are St. John's, Virginia, Seton Hall, and I feel bad for an Indiana State team that played so good in the Missouri Valley. When I went to school in Missouri for a couple years, I went to that conference tournament. A lot of fun because it's normally the first conference tournament that finishes, and they always played in St. Louis. And like, no matter how good or bad your team is, everybody just descends on that place. And then the next 4 out: Ohio State, stay out. Kansas State, Providence, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think it's going to match up to be a pretty good bracket. I guess we'll have all the finals this afternoon.
Yeah.
About where everybody plays out. Going back to Tennessee, they thought they were going to get that 1 seed.
Well, it's like I told my father-in-law, you get a 2 seed's practically the 1 seed because
Yeah.
You're going to play a 15 right off the get-go, which you're going to get a school that winning their conference tournament is their national championship, and there's a lot of schools in here that haven't been in a while. And some schools that aren't just going to, they're not going to match up against you. Now they can beat you. We've seen not 1, but 2 16s beat a 1 seed, and we've had more 15s beat 2 seeds throughout the year. So they can beat you, but you're still at the bottom. You don't have to face the toughest of the tough till you get to about the Sweet 16, Elite 8. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing about the Tennessee part of it is just their March Madness MO. Like, did they start their bad game this past week, and it's just going to follow? Yeah. Maybe they can get over the hump here and try to make a run in the tournament because this team is an older team. You look at these SEC teams, and when you look at your top 5 or 6 teams, they're all older. The kids come back. So a lot of these teams, they got to do it this year.
Right.
Because your other teams are building. And these teams are going to be losing so much.
Right.
Now, if they're like a South Carolina girls team who lose 6 or 7 and then come right back with the next 5 and they're undefeated, then, hey, my hat's off.
That one's going to be a fun tournament. Now, they get announced tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
The men will get announced later tonight, and, of course, we're all going to be glued to the screens. I'm going to try to rush back from Costco as quick as we can. We got to go get diapers. And, we got a boy that uses the bathroom a lot.
I don't miss those days at all.
Yeah, I'm waiting to not miss those days. So, but let's go to the group of 5. Mid-majors.
Mid-majors.
Mid-majors. We had My favorite story coming out of the tournament is Long Beach State is firing their coach after 17 years. They tell him, we're going to let you finish out your conference tournament, but you're going to be gone after this year. What do? Go make the tournament. What a great story that is. That MAC championship, if you haven't seen this, they got a putback with 6 seconds left. And they've always played the old Gund Arena, or Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland. That's also a fun tournament to go to, the MAC. And it's Kent State and Akron. Like, if you know mid-major basketball, you especially know the MAC, Kent State's had a program that's been so good for so long. Those are probably the two most consistent schools, Akron and Kent State. And Kent State gets the putback. Akron rushes it in. There's no timeouts, and they're going the other way. Kid didn't know. He thought they were down. And he intentionally fouled with 4 seconds left. Akron hits both free throws. His coach's reaction is priceless.
Bless his heart.
And I've noticed this over the last few years, and it's not just with basketball, and and it's kind of what we're going to get into more on the show is today's athletes, and I'm not picking on anyone in particular, but today's athletes, are they like more situational, what's the word I'm looking for? Are they more situational dumb than what they used to be? Like, I've seen a lot of uncharacteristic base running mistakes in college softball and college baseball at the high school level. Like, they're making, and we've seen like guys do stuff guys and girls on the basketball court kind of do some, dude, did you not know what was going on? I think we're more situationally dumb.
I think we are, and I think
when it comes to sports.
And I think a lot of it, we go back just to our age, like not necessarily the knowledge of the game, but like just your common sense, quick know-how. Like,
Exactly.
Like, playing baseball, that's what we go back to. Like, I know with 2 outs, you're going to step up, or, if I know if I'm pitching, I got runners on with 2 outs, well, hey, if I can, everybody's go first base.
Yeah.
If I got runners on the corners, hey, we're going to check this runner. But, I see so many times now, I was just watching one the other day, they didn't check a runner at third.
Yeah.
And the guy
took off.
He takes off, and that's too late. Well, then he double pumps.
Yeah.
Because it caught him off guard. Now you got a runner safe at first, and they score a run. Yeah. And you're standing at second base holding a baseball like, what happened?
Yeah. Well, I saw Tennessee's series a couple weekends ago against Illinois. Right fielder came, charged in, caught the ball. Runner at third, it was a pop fly, and he just kind of flipped it to the second base, and runner at third took off and scored with no throw.
So,
and it's just,
now hats off to that runner for paying attention.
But I think we've just gotten so, like, how do you not know that it's a 1-point game? That guy just made a putback. I mean, it wasn't like he just fouled him on accident, just happened to be. I mean, he literally reached out and grabbed his jersey.
And I feel like, so blame it on the player for not being in the game and not being focused.
Right.
But also, you should have coaches screaming, don't foul.
Exactly.
I mean, because most of those teams have got 6 or 7 guys on the sideline.
Right.
That are covering just those scenarios.
You're right. They should know better. Others, I think that's another topic for. I've just noticed it a lot in sports, like
Oh, I do too.
Wide receivers. I've seen it more at college, like, and they're so coached and overcoached. How do you not know, like in a 2-minute situation, you catch the ball near the sidelines, go get out of bounds, go step out of bounds.
Exactly.
Like you see in the NFL too. It's like, I mean, it's one thing if you make that. I think that's the thing that bothers me the most. It's one thing you make that mistake in game if you're a basketball player, games 1 through 5. Understood. You're not in game situations, but you make that mistake in your conference championship game when you're the 7th seed and a chance to go to the dance.
Yes.
Especially the way the dance has been lately, which is anybody can beat anybody. Fairleigh Dickinson can beat the top seed in Purdue. Maryland, Baltimore County can beat a powerhouse in Virginia. Anything can happen once you get there. You don't waste those opportunities.
No, because you may not get them again.
Exactly. And some of the other schools I'm looking at here is I want to give a shout out to Samford down the road in Birmingham. When I was covering Mercer and the SoCon, Dusty, that team, it was at the bottom of the league was VMI, the Citadel, and Samford. You knew when you played Samford more than 80% of the time you're going to beat them. Shoot, last year, UT Southern went there after Christmas and beat them.
Yeah.
In their building, and their coaches totally rebuilt that program, done a great job, gotten them there. So I want to give a shout out to them. You don't want to see St. Mary's or Gonzaga out of the West Coast Conference. Those teams are big, physical, and I've got three criteria for a team that I know can make the Final Four. Great defensively, a really good offensive rebounding team, and a team with a guy that can make a shot in any situation anywhere on the court. Those are the three things you need to make it to at least the Final Four. I think Gonzaga and St. Mary's have each of those because they're big, physical, they crash the boards, really good defensively, smart. They're not going to out-foul themselves, and they've got shooters that can make plays anywhere on the court.
I hadn't followed St. Mary's as much, but Gonzaga, you're 100% right.
Well, they beat Gonzaga twice.
Right. But Gonzaga, I mean, they're I think the first thing is defense.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you play really great defense, you can maybe score just enough to get past it. I love the whole offensive rebound side of the ball, and that's why I was going to talk about a big school. Yeah. I got to watch them play a little bit last week, and I know they lost last night, but I think they're going to be scary in the tournament. That's North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
That's another one of those older teams. They come back.
Yeah, well, they made it to the Final Four last year.
But they got something to play. They're playing for something.
Right. Well, not last year, the
year before last. Yeah. But yeah, Gonzaga I think is scary. They can shoot.
Yeah, they didn't start off good, but man, they finished.
Those saying they've got hot at the right time.
Yeah.
That's kind of like NC State when they've got hot at the right time.
Yeah, and they're big, they're physical, and shoot, dude, you can win 5 games in 5 days.
That's impressive.
That's impressive.
I don't care.
I don't care what sport it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what sport it is or what level. I mean, that's just unreal.
At that level, you win 5 games in 5 days. It's unreal.
I mean, there's teams that don't win 5 games in 2 weeks because most of the time they're stretched out that far. You know.
Yeah, like it took West Virginia like 2 months to win 5 games. It's another thing. On the women's side, that's going to be fun. The first few days isn't because we're going to see a lot of blowouts, but I mean, you got Iowa, South Carolina, LSU is going to be good. Oregon on the other side of the coast is going to be really good. I mean,
UConn, USC.
That's right. I mean,
I mean
that Sweet 16, it's going to get good around the Sweet 16.
See, I said Elite 8, but by the time we get to Elite 8, I think it's.
Well, we're going to probably have a couple upsets. Someone coming out of nowhere is going to trick somebody up.
I know that's for a fact in men's, but I think these women are a little different. I'm not saying it won't happen, but those first 6 teams we just said, nobody wants to play them.
Right.
Now, you may get a number 1 South Carolina playing a number 4 USC and may get a look.
Also, like Virginia Tech made it to the Final Four last year, and they're just as good as what they've been.
Yes.
That's 7 teams you can think of.
Yeah. I mean, so, yeah, you might call it an upset if you had a 1 versus a 7. Yeah. But 7 can beat that 1.
Like I'm going to be honest. I would rather go watch the women's Elite 8 than the men's.
Oh, 100% down. Not even
like
close.
I'm even tempted to look at it. I know I'm like we're on a budget as a family, but
sure.
Like that would be.
That'd be just to go catch one game.
Go catch one game. It would be totally worth it.
And I tell you, everybody wants to see Caitlin Clark, and I'm kind of off the whole bandwagon thing. But like, I want to see South Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean that team. I don't even know if that's bully ball.
Yeah.
When that girl's 6'7", 6'8", and plays like she's 6'3".
And I love that, when that SEC championship game, when that Johnson girl was just losing her mind because she's getting her tail kicked in. She comes in, and here comes the enforcer. Boom, get off.
Get up. Yeah.
Sorry, Kim Mulkey. She was in the right. Your spoiled brat player was not.
No,
and then
she
her
wasn't.
brother comes on the court. I mean, that program's so out of control.
It is
that
out of
head
control.
coach.
She's out of control.
Yeah, it's
The whole, but it kind of fits. Like we talk about their football program and how, like, it just all fits them as they're out of control.
But that's going to be. I want to look up the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16 locations.
Just see
and
where it's at.
See
Yeah,
what's at.
That would be good.
Shout out to my home team, the Marshall Thundering Herd. Their second ever tournament. They got a coach from the state. Kim Caldwell is her name, and they broke a school record for wins in the season. Won the Sun Belt regular season and conference title. I was in the line for Sorin, watching overtime with them and James Madison, losing my mind. And then we
I
were
would have skipped that ride and just stayed out and watched the game.
well, I mean, it ended right. I mean, you could actually watch it on. It's one of the few rides if you're into
That
a
ride
game.
scared me to death.
You don't like Sorin?
Dude,
Dude, it just goes 2 feet.
I was 1,000 feet up in the air. You can ask my wife. She's playing church right now. She's gonna go back and watch this. Those metal hands,
Yeah.
those metal grips, dude. I guarantee you, my fingerprints are in them. Scared to death. I'm telling you, I'm a big sissy. I'm scared of heights.
You and my mom are the only people I know that got scared on Sorin.
Dude, I was like this the whole time. Like I didn't even want to look.
Yeah.
If I peeked my eye open, it was just a little, and we're coming across just, I don't know, we're like in a desert, and then we're like, oh, no way.
A funny story about that ride, this is mainly going to be the most fun we're going to have on Breakfast with Exports.
Yes.
Just our tangents.
Yeah.
On our honeymoon, and the guy who's on the video, you know, that intro when you're standing in line, they have that guy that comes up and tells you how to do it. That's Putty from Seinfeld. I don't know his real name, but I always like, feels like an Arby's night. I love Seinfeld's my favorite all-time show, followed by The Office, Parks and Rec, and that's Putty. And my wife and I were just talking, and I wasn't really paying attention. So they talk about a spot where you gotta take the loop and put it through something that goes, you know, in your crotch, and then put it over.
Yeah.
And I thought that was for everybody. And I'm like, man, I'm just really uncomfortable. I don't remember this ride being this uncomfortable. And she goes, why did you put the kid strap on? I went, oh. So I was really locked in on that ride. And I'm like, the guy comes over, he laughs. I'm like, dude, is there any way you can undo this? He's like, well, if I do, I have to do it for everybody. So I had to do that entire ride with that. So
man.
but I was watching it in the Sorin line. And even later, you know, we love to eat around the world. They've got a different festival every time you go to Epcot. The food was, does that still work?
Mic check. Check.
Yeah, we're good. Okay. I still see the levels moving over there.
Oh,
so
yeah, I
that's,
do too.
that's a good thing.
Good.
So, but you know, we're eating around the world, and we went to a place. It's called Honey Something. It was actually one of the last things we got. And right after that, we got PB&J soft serve swirled ice cream, grape jelly ice cream, peanut butter ice cream swirled together.
That sounds amazing.
It was great. But the place before we got, it was chicken and waffles with hot honey, and they put it on a cornbread waffle. Jalapeno cornbread waffle. It was really, really, really good. But some lady, she's talking loud, like some people just, can't control the volume of their voice. And she's like, yeah, the men are playing right. And she's literally saying this loud. Men are playing right now. The women played earlier today, lost to Marshall. And I turn around and go Herd. Give them the sign, go Herd. And shit, that death stare, right?
You got it.
I'm like, go Herd, baby. Go home, James Madison. All right, free agency. It's been kind of hard to keep track of, and
There's been so much going on.
So, all right, let's go to the Steelers quarterback situation right now. That's nuts. I didn't even start. When I woke up and saw that, or I think I saw it late last night. I'm like, well, there's a lot we can talk about with free agency, but I didn't think I was like, we have to talk about this right off the get-go. The Steelers they went from, Pickett Rudolph and Trubisky. You know, Trubisky's back in Buffalo as a backup. That's what he should be.
Yes.
I never thought he was.
No, he never. I thought there might have been a little hope for him,
Yeah.
and then it just.
I saw him play in college. You know, actually, the year that his one great year in North Carolina and Virginia Tech whipped them, and in all fairness, it was at the tail end of a hurricane. So I literally drove through a hurricane to get to the game, and not in a. And NC State played Notre Dame in the monsoon. They should have just delayed that game to later that day. NC State ended up winning, but I saw him in that game, even when it was raining. And the second half, it wasn't raining. I'm going, this guy, everyone thinks is going to be the first overall pick. Like, none of that makes sense. But
I mean, this don't make sense. I mean, you see the screen there.
They're literally pulling starting quarterbacks
for nothing.
for nothing.
I mean, okay, they're going to pay $1.2 million on Russell Wilson's contract, and they give up 25 draft pick, one for Justin Fields. That's what it says. Bears for, it doesn't say picks. It just says pick.
That's a bit shocking to me.
A report the Steelers sent 2025 sixth-round draft pick that became a fourth-round selection in Fields to the Steelers at 24 and what Chicago.
That's
I mean, they are putting like so you're telling me that Chicago Bears
they're getting Caleb Williams.
they're putting all their eggs in a basket on this joker?
I don't like it.
Ah,
That's another future breakfast with exports, but I don't like Caleb Williams. I think he's got bust written all over.
I do too.
And
I
that's
don't
gonna
like him as a
sink that-
person.
That's going to sink that organization even further.
And that is a
down.
huge organization. When we talk about all these huge teams. I mean, Chicago Bears is like, I mean, not saying that they're a great team to like go win, but just the name of the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams is fixing to just trash this organization.
Absolutely, yeah. Because number one, he's like, well, I want to own a part of it. Well, how about you actually win something for them first before you start going down that road? But go back to the Steelers. You're getting not one but two starting quarterbacks. I mean, it almost kind of feels like, because Russell Wilson said he wanted to go to a place where he wants to start right away. I mean, I know the whole saying is let Russ cook. I think he's cooked.
I think he's cooked now.
And I'm not necessarily sold on. I don't think Justin Fields had a great situation in Chicago.
No.
But I was never really sold on him as a quarterback to begin with.
I wasn't sold on him as a quarterback, but I'm going to say this. I think he's athletic enough. And I think the biggest key right here is Mike Tomlin. If Mike Tomlin can get Justin Fields to buy in,
Right.
maybe change a few things,
Okay.
maybe get the right quarterback coach, a little different program and offense. Who knows? Like, I don't think it's bad because they got a good defense.
They're always going to have a good defense. That's kind of the Steelers' trademark. And they're trying so hard to replace Roethlisberger. And they thought Pickett was going to be the guy. I don't know if Pickett necessarily got a great bill there, because they had Matt Canada as the OC. Clearly was not hated by the city, not liked by the organization, but Tomlin stuck with him. He's a loyal guy. I'm not a big Mike Tomlin fan. He won a Super Bowl in year number 2, made it back to another couple years later. I mean, yeah, he's going to get you in the playoffs. Yeah, you're going to have a winning record, but you're also, to be honest, most Steeler fans are just over it. They're over it.
Yeah, I mean, I think his time's run out.
Right.
Just,
Right.
it's just over. Like he's not got over the hump.
But well, speaking of where Kenny Pickett went, you think Jalen Hurts has now got some fire under his rear end right now because they're bringing in a former first-round pick?
I wanted to talk about this today in that team and that trade they had. Just, I blame those last 6 games and the end of their season. I put it on Jalen. He's a leader. He's a quarterback.
And we're starting to hear some not great things about his leadership.
And I talk, I'm not one to talk about my Alabama boys. I still consider him an Alabama boy, even though he went on to Oklahoma. But think about if he's right, if he gets his head right, what kind of read option does him and Barkley have?
Oh, I forgot about Saquon.
That's what I'm saying.
I forgot about him.
I mean, it's unreal because you got Devontae, you've got A.J. Brown, now you got Barkley, you got Jalen, and then
Their stable of running backs was good to begin with.
well, they let Swift go.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's gone. I mean, Philly got better.
Yeah. But like you said, it's all going to Jay.
It's all in
and
his
now they're
court.
bringing in this backup. This feels very, I don't know if you remember this. Remember when the 49ers traded for Steve Young? When Steve Young was the starter in Tampa?
Right.
And I mean, Tampa was an awful situation at the time, but they traded to get Steve Young for that reason to light a fire under Joe Montana and led him to 2 more Super Bowls.
And and here's the thing, Jalen's not known, even though he's got 2 elite receivers and they had really good seasons, he's not known to air it out.
Right.
Well, Kenny Pickett is known to sling that rock.
Right.
I mean, what if he pushes him enough
To win the job.
to win a job, or they kind of put some kind of package in where they run 2 quarterbacks? Because coach is coaching for his job.
Well, it feels like that whole organization is coaching for their jobs. They're playing for their, because how can you go from, I mean, they made it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, lost in that, you lost to greatness. They
Yes.
are just what they are, and I've accepted that as a 49er fan. That 2 of their 3 Super Bowl wins have come against my team, but winners win. Greatness is greatness. But they remember how great they started the season. They were awesome.
What, 7-0?
I want to say it
7-1?
was like 10-0.
Or was it? I mean, it might have been.
But then they ran into San Francisco, who they started off great in that game, and then the 49ers just punched them in the mouth
Yep.
rest of the game, and that literally just went,
Oh, and then they lost like 5 of the last 6.
yeah, and barely got into the playoffs, and Baker Mayfield and them just
Torched him.
torched them.
I don't know. I think this NFL season coming up is going to be phenomenal.
It's going to be great.
I don't want to. You're going to have to beat Kansas City
Yeah.
to prove me wrong. I'm going ahead and say it now. I'm not a fan, but you're going to have to. I never said Lamar Jackson can win a big game, but he just got the piece. Henry. I mean, now
Oh,
we're.
that's right. Yeah, I was getting ready to
Now think about that
bring
read
that up.
option.
Yeah. Well, you hope Derek still got some miles in his legs.
I don't think he's done.
I don't think he's done, but I don't think he's going to be as dynamic as what some people, because he's taken so many hits.
He has, but does he have to be so dynamic with Lamar? So I think Lamar could feed off Henry because Henry take a little bit of that load off.
Right.
I think they could be special. I think y'all gonna come back with a vengeance. You got to.
They got to. Like, it
Now-
was,
Is everybody coming back? I did read the other day where Baltimore is trying to throw some kind of package to get Debo.
well, Debo just changed his number, and the 49ers are like all about, it's all over the website, all over social media.
Okay.
Get your new Debo jerseys, because he's going from 19 to 1. Ooh. Yeah. And he put Samuel Sr. on the back because I think he had a kid.
Okay.
Or he has a new kid that he called Debo Samuel Jr., so
Okay.
he's senior. So they are all about get your brand new
Well, that ain't
number
happening.
1 jerseys.
And
They re-signed my boy Jawan Jennings.
listen,
so,
if they didn't re-sign him, and I'm not a Tennessee guy at all, but that dude is special.
he is. He is. You know another good, because I'm just literally scrolling through the teams here on ESPN.com. How about someone getting another fire putting on their rear end? Deshaun Watson, your boy, they signed Jameis Winston. So if Deshaun has more injury issues or legal issues, they've got to. I'm not a Jameis Winston
No,
fan. I think he's so immature.
Oh, he's never grew up.
He's never grew up, and I mean, how in the world you can throw 30 interceptions in a season and not be done by every caliber? He threw 32 touchdowns and 32 interceptions. I watched a YouTube video sitting in bed one night. Wife's asleep. She wakes up. She's going, well, what are you watching? I'm like, well, I'm watching a breakdown of every Jameis Winston interception. This guy went through every single one of them. He said 18 were legit on Jameis. The other 14 were like a combination of tip ball, should have been caught,
Right.
or just a bit offline, but should have been caught. So 18 the 32 interceptions were legit on Jameis.
But here he is. He's back in the talk, and more than likely he's going to get to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Cleveland went out and got him another receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
What about the Chargers? Harbaugh coming in, and these guys are leaving, and because they're not giving no money, and I think he's going to be fine.
Oh yeah. He was kind of going. I watched that whole Apple Plus series on the Patriots. I mean, they're going to come in. They're going to get some guys, some undervalued guys who are going to play themselves in the value. He's going to kind of go. I think he's going to come in with that Belichick mindset that like you got to prove your worth around here. Do your job. I think he'll have a little bit more personality and a little bit more connection with his players.
Oh, definitely, his personality is a lot bigger.
How about the Titans? The Calvin Ridley deal makes. I'm not a Calvin Ridley fan. I know I'm like being really negative this morning. There's a lot of people I'm just not sold on. I do have a couple. There's a couple free agent signings I'm going to get to that I really, really like and I think are underrated. I don't get the Calvin Ridley deal. How can you let A.J. Brown go for less money a couple years ago and sign this guy to that deal? He's getting $23 million a year.
Exactly, and he played. He come out of suspension for a year.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be something there because Jacksonville didn't keep him.
Right.
And then the Titans are going to pay him and make him their number one.
Right.
And then they get Tony Pollard. But there's still one problem to the whole thing. This thing doesn't know what they're lying.
Yeah. It done nothing with it. Haven't fixed that bit one iota.
No. I just, I was talking to a guy at work, and he was like, oh, man, yeah, this is it. And I said, dude, it's not it. You're going to hear me say the Titans suck all year long. So I told him, I was like, so I don't want you to even talk to me about being a fan. I said, they got rid of Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So
now I've got a Titans jersey that I'm just going to have to hang up because it's going to be, I'm not going to wear it anymore.
Right.
I guess if I had to pick a team to root for, it would be, I don't know. I don't know who I'd play. Detroit.
Yeah. I don't think they did much in free agency.
They got Reeder.
Yeah, they got Reeder. How about, speaking of that division, the Vikings, I'm kind of fans of what they did. And this is my most underrated move in free agency. The Vikings went and got Aaron Jones, who was on fire for the Packers last year. And they only signed him for 1 year, $7 million. They got him. That's like a discount upon discounts for a guy who was as good as he was last year. They only got him for a 1 year, $7 million deal.
So, but here's what I don't get. I think I agree 100%. Yeah. How did they get rid of him, but you signed Robinson, who's not any better?
Exactly.
I think Jones had a better year.
Yeah. Well, they got Josh Jacobs from the Raiders.
I mean, Jacobs, not Robinson, yeah. Jacobs. But
yeah, he was better than Jacobs.
Yes.
Quite frankly, Jacobs had I know he's an Alabama guy. Had a couple good years in Vegas or Oakland or wherever.
Yeah, whatever you want to call
them. Had a couple good years, but do you not really? I mean, you let a guy go who signed in your division for just $7 million. I'm pretty sure you're giving Josh Jacobs $12 million a year. You could have saved $5 million in cap space by signing the guy who's already on your roster, unless it's one of those he just wanted out. I don't think it was.
If he just wanted out, then so be it. But I think what the Minnesota Vikings are going to have to worry about is Jefferson saying, I'm not playing here.
Right. They got Sam Darnold, which I think, anyone who plays quarterback in New York is just cursed. Giants or Jets.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Because for some reason, neither one of those organizations, I mean, I like Brian Daboll, don't get me wrong, but for some reason, the organization can either A, get the right play caller, B, get the right quarterback, or C, put the right weapons around them. Neither team can do that.
No. I mean, you have to go back to Eli for the Giants.
Yeah, and lightning struck twice.
Yes, it did.
The rest of the years were just...
Yeah. And the last time the Jets, really made some kind of run was a guy named Mark Sanchez.
Mm-hmm. Oh, back-to-back AFC championships
with
Rex. With all Rex. Let's go get some effing snacks.
Yeah, sexy Rex.
So I like what Minnesota did there. How about let's go to the NFC South. Kirk Cousins to Atlanta.
Listen, Kirk Cousins,
They're giving that guy the bank.
they just
for a
backed the
third.
truck up and said, "Here you go, buddy."
He's 3 years younger than me, and coming off of an ACL injury.
Achilles or whatever. Whatever. Hey, props to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go down as like the third or fourth highest paid quarterback ever, or NFL player ever. Because I mean, he's getting all this guaranteed money. Now, is he a good dude? I think he is.
Absolutely.
Watch the show.
Quarterback. I love
Yes.
that show. Can't wait for the second
I
season.
can't either. I mean, I think he's a great guy. I
Yeah.
think he's a family guy. I mean, his wife seems down to earth. Like just all the pieces, they're getting to go back to her hometown where her parents still live. So, hey, props to him. I see the next team up right there, Tampa Bay. Mike
Baker.
Williams taking a pay cut. Baker comes in for $100 million for 3 years.
They were rolling at the end of last year. I think if
I've never been a big Baker fan, but I've always said, like, for a quarterback, it's all about the system, not necessarily the head coach or the team, but it's the system for you. It started working. It come out of nowhere.
yeah,
So maybe Tampa Bay's got the system for Baker.
I'm trying to not.
Big, huge news right there in Los Angeles with Aaron Donald retiring.
Yeah, I am so happy to not have to worry about that guy anymore.
Listen, we talk about all these players. We talk right now, I guess, the freak show right now is play Myles Garrett. Just looking at him.
Right.
Aaron Donald's a beast.
Yeah. Well, and what's his face? Clowney retired, which I think he's one of the biggest busts in NFL history.
NFL ever.
I mean, he had some good moments and a couple good seasons, but he was touted. Remember, everyone was going, he should skip his final year before he can get drafted, so he can be ready for the NFL. I'm like, the guy was always injured. He never knew if he wanted to play or wanted to be there or not.
No, I mean, his biggest feat for me, like the biggest thing he's done, was he knocked Denard Robinson's head off in the South Carolina-Michigan game.
That was awesome.
Probably one of the greatest hits we'll ever see in college football.
Yeah, he was unblocked.
He was unblocked, but I mean, just de-helmeting, de-cleating.
and then have the presence of mind to grab. He tried to get up and go for a touchdown, which his knee was down. But if he would have done that, that's the greatest play in college football.
Yes, it was a phenomenal play. But yeah, he was a bust. I'm already looking forward to NFL though. I mean,
College football, I mean, I think we'll get into it next week, but have you seen kind of what some of the more national media is coming out with what could be the breakaway from the Power Five from everybody else and kind of what that will look like as far as
I kind of seen a little bit of it. I didn't really dig into it yet. I'm still kind of upset about college football right now.
Oh, I understand.
And then of course, I seen you the video with Nick and a lot of it's coming out about why. And then, I feel like I was right when I kept saying all along, like the recruiting part of it. He could just walk in your house and say, "I'm Nick Saban. You want to play for a national championship, and do you want to go to the NFL?"
Right.
Well, he can't do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, look at Chip Kelly went from being a head coach of a Power 5 program in the same conference as Ohio State to being their O coordinator. Jeff Hafley left. I mean, he left being a head coaching job to be an NFL coordinator. And there's been several guys, and I've got a couple people I know in the NFL that I talk to on a pretty regular basis, and they're all saying the same thing to everybody, which is, come to the NFL and you don't have to worry about that. We're already paying the guys; they got no excuse anymore.
Right.
And now you have to deal with all these kids who haven't earned a darn thing in their life. Well, how much is their name, image, and likeness worth? Why are you overpaying? That guy might not even step on the field. Here in the NFL, we've got pay systems. Rookies can only make so much. Young guys can only make so much over a period of time. They got to earn that second contract.
And I feel like we, like I said, we'll get into it more, like you said, but we have let money destroy college football.
I hate it. And college sports in general.
In general, but for us, college football just means so much.
Just think about how much fun this next couple weeks is going to be on the men's and the women's side. I mean, the men's is going to have way more upsets than the women, but the women are going to have a couple. But how much fun is that to see these teams that play in gyms smaller than the Ralph?
Yes.
And they're going to go beat a Power 5 team in an NBA arena, and the place is going to go nuts. We're going to see that several times in the next coming
Yes,
weeks.
or we're just going to see that little school take a North Carolina down to the wire.
Yeah.
Last minute shot, North Carolina wins. But still, like, yes.
Money's going to. I don't. That's the one thing I don't think money's going to take away is the tournaments the NCAA does have a control of: basketball, baseball, and softball. I mean, Stony Brook made it to the College World Series. Missouri State, when they were Southwest Missouri State,
Right.
made it to the World. Kent State made it to the College World Series. My biggest fear is that money takes that away, even though I think enough people realize the value. Like,
Yeah, I think you're right.
the
there.
Cinderellas, in a lot of ways, kind of mean more than the big name schools. Once you get to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, it's all about the big name schools.
Sure.
But the first couple weeks are about the Cinderellas.
Yes, and I'm so thankful that we get those in the tournament. You know, and that's what I think the money comes into is let those teams in, give them a chance to win, and they can get a little bit of that money.
Right.
But as a whole, you know, going back to the football thing, I'm just kind of still got a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Well, we'll discuss the divisions. If Andy Staples is right,
Yeah.
we might be a little rivalry coming on because I think he put West Virginia in Bama's division.
What little bit I seen
When
that.
I was like, okay, well, I can understand it, but like, do you realize how far Morgantown is from Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, it's like what, 10 hours, 12 hours?
I know we border Ohio and Kentucky
Right.
and Virginia, but like Morgantown's in the north central, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
we're an hour from Pittsburgh, y'all.
yeah,
I didn't grow up in that part of West Virginia, but it's up there.
right.
Yeah,
And Tuscaloosa's 3 hours from where we're sitting right now.
yeah. And if you get car sick, that drive to Morgantown is not for you. You're going to get car sick really quickly. Saw you looking it up on your iPad. Wrestling is, WrestleMania is going to be here before you know it. We're
Yeah.
starting to see the.
I'm starting to see a play out of
Yeah.
kind of how it's all going to lay out. We're going to get Jimmy J. Then we're finally going to get to see that.
Finally, it's starting to brew. Oh, by the way, happy 316 Day to everybody.
Oh, yep.
I think
Shout out.
I've spent my entire time in between softball games watching every Stone Cold Stunner
That you could watch, yeah.
and see who can sell it the best. You see Austin Theory selling of how
Dude, that
we
he
know
sold it.
it's fake, but I mean his delayed reaction.
he took it. He stood up and
and
then
sprung up in the air. And yeah, I get what they were trying to do, but they could have.
yeah.
It just makes me hate Austin Theory more.
I'm not a fan of him anyways.
but he could have done better.
Yes, he definitely could have done better. I'm still so like up in the air with this whole Cody, Seth, Rock, Roman thing, and then then Roman and Cody, and is the Rock going to interfere in that match and cost Roman and set them up for SummerSlam? Like I try not to read too much into it because you don't want any spoilers.
Right.
But you try to figure out what direction they're going.
Right.
I don't have a clue. Looks like they're pushing Sami Zayn
Yeah.
he won the gauntlet match Monday
Okay,
against,
yeah.
and then
He's a fan favorite.
he is a fan favorite.
But I saw some card. Is he going to be in like a three-way with somebody?
Well, the match was
Him, Gunther.
him and Gunther, and that was the match. But they were really showing Chad Gable,
Okay.
and that's who Sammy fought at the end of the gauntlet.
It was the U.S. title that I saw for a three-way.
Oh, that's going to be Logan, Randy, Kevin.
Okay, that's the one I saw. Okay.
But I just, I've been saying it for a month, and then we had the whole fence thing. Man, I see where Brock's been put back on the roster,
Yeah.
and they put him in.
Yeah.
I seen a little, and I know it's just put together, but there was Gunther, and there was Sami Zayn, and then there was Brock.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Brock Gunther would be fun, but I'm kind of torn on the whole thing because part of me is like, now this is alleged. We don't know if this happened or not. Nobody was there. The people reporting it weren't there, and the people accusing those. And obviously it's cost Vince McMahon. He's not going to be back. And
No, he's done.
he should have been gone actually a long time ago.
Probably 20 years ago, but
because his booking was terrible, and some of the decisions. Like I literally watched a video yesterday, the worst Vince McMahon decisions of the last 10 years. I mean, he was literally costing his company millions of dollars because
no
of just
doubt.
I don't know why he was making some of those moves, but in a way, I kind of feel bad because the Brock back then is way different than the Brock now. I think the Brock now is more humble. He's more aware of himself. He's more humble. He's not as egotistical. He still has his moments, but I think Brock is so much more likable now than when he was. But again, it's one of those, what you do in the dark eventually is going to come to light.
Oh, sure.
And he did some not so great things in the past. And no matter how much he's changed, he's still got to atone. If he did this, I'm not saying he did, again, it's alleged.
Right.
If this did happen, he does need to have some punishment.
He does, and I agree 100%. With that being said, I think Sammy, fan favorite, Sammy is a very good in-ring performer. He sells it so well, but he also performs well.
Great.
So I think they could give Sammy his WrestleMania moment and beat Gunther.
That would be great. He had one last year. Him and KO winning the tag titles from the Usos.
He did. He had his, but that was a tag team WrestleMania, and I know he sold it as his WrestleMania moment, but he can have his singles moment.
Yeah, and they're looking up. Day 2 is probably just going to be all title matches. The 2 women's title matches and the 2 men's title matches.
They are. They're doing a good job with the women.
Yeah.
You know, they setting up the Bailey deal and her whole group turning on her, and
it's a good story there. The Rhea Bianca thing is kind of weird. Like they're not really doing a whole lot with it.
No,
right now.
and Bailey and Rhea, and then you got Nia Jax. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Becky Lynch.
Yeah. She's too one note.
Yeah, she was just that person who, for me, I feel like was just one of those people that we talk about like a weekend warrior. She was just this huge wrestling guru. She got a chance, and
She's taking advantage of it.
props to her taking advantage of it. I'm just not a fan. She's not that flashy to me in the ring.
Right. Yeah.
You know, Rhea's got the power. She body slams and does all this stuff, and
Such a good heel.
oh,
Such a
awesome
good
heel. Bianca's so athletic. She's pulling out some of the crazy moves.
And you got the whole Bailey and damage control storyline.
Yes, and
working
like I
really
said,
well.
Nia's pretty impressive to be that big and can move like she does for a female, doing the flips and all that stuff. You know, I feel like they're gonna put a title on her.
Do you like that you're going to have your main event be the 2 guys in your main event of night 2 are going to be in the main event of night 1 of that tag match? I'm going back and forth because I know it's going to be both of them are going to be great, but you've got so many good people who are hot, who are over, as they say in wrestling terms, right now. Do you need to do a 2-night
I don't think so.
thing?
I was hoping that the tag match would be open the show, and then let's close it with one of these hot ones.
Yeah, right.
On night 1.
Like the Sammy Gunther, that could be.
Yeah, that could be that because they're going to tear the house down. And then close. You got to close it with Roman and Cody, and I'm fine with that. But I think that tag match should open on night 1,
Right.
and because I don't know, they're taking away. I mean, I think you could close the show on night 1 with Gunther, Sammy, Jimmy, or Jay. You could close it with that. You could really close it with if you wanted to open the show on night 2 with Jimmy and Jay. Close it with the Kevin and Randy and Logan.
Yeah.
Close it with that. Your guy somewhere, I feel like is gonna make a big to do in WrestleMania. I think he's gonna beat AJ, but I think he's gonna play it.
They need to put a belt on him at some point. I was going to bring that up.
I'm
Why doesn't this guy have a belt on him
He
yet?
needs a belt so bad.
Because he would be so stinking good with that belt
Oh
on.
man, it'd be so good. I think they will.
He's still over because people talk about it all the time.
Oh, he's way over.
He gets the biggest pop. I mean, even when he was going to do that championship match and that promo and his music hit, and you see Randy Orton's eyes go like, woo.
Yeah,
I've
like-
only heard that a few times.
Yeah, like that. You know, it's awesome.
So I'm hoping Triple H is like, okay, you know, we gave him a shot. We're going to put him down low, but he's still popular, and now we're going to move him back up. I mean, I would love to see, man, him and Logan Paul. That should have been the WrestleMania match. It was originally, you know, not slated because they didn't put it on paper, but a lot of people, that was rumored because remember during the Money in the Bank, him him and Logan had some good back and forth
Oh, they're
in the
back.
lead up to the Money in the
Yes,
Bank
it was
match.
amazing.
Oh, that might be. I don't know when Money in the Bank is. I've been so out of the loop for so long. Now I'm getting back into it.
Yeah.
Would he? I mean, Damien's got to use it at some point, but
Damien has to use that. They're gonna that Judgment Day run's about over, I think.
yeah, it's getting tired. Like I think it peaked at Survivor
It
Series.
did peak, and now you're starting to see the whole Damien
Yeah.
looking at Finn kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know, Finn's kind of doing more with JD, and I think Dominic's going to be the one they leave.
Yeah. Him and Mommy.
Yeah, I think she's done. I think she'll be done as well. I think she loses her title, and they'll figure out something else for her.
Yeah, and then something I don't know. I just got an epiphany that I think Damien's going to use it for the Raw after WrestleMania.
That's
with
where my
somebody.
head's going.
I mean, can you imagine his music hits? Like, there's just some, like, because if there's going to be a championship match for somebody after WrestleMania, that Raw after, because all of them have been great except for last
Last
year's
year was
when
terrible.
Vince
Screwed it up so bad.
Vince did Vince for some reason.
Yeah.
And those dummies went along with it. But
Right.
I think it's, and if we see a championship match on the card for the Raw after WrestleMania, Damien might be coming out with the Money in the Bank.
And I think you're going to see him. I think they could set up Drew McIntyre to win his title against Seth, and set up a Damien Drew. Two big guys
Yeah.
just getting it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay. Oh man, this is a pretty good first breakfast with X
Yeah,
Sports.
for sure.
We both got to get to church. You know,
Yep.
you got your boys all hopped up on Sundrop.
Got them cranked up and ready to go.
Sundroop, as Hayden calls it.
Yeah,
Well,
Droop.
We forgot to check on. We'll see real quickly. You know, UT Southern won on.
Oh yeah, it's right there.
They won.
The
Friday.
NA,
They won
NI,
Friday.
whatever.
And I'm trying to get my. I think they were playing last night. I know they won on Friday. 91-84. Just they were up 20 at one point. And the other team kind of came back a bit. And yep, they lost to Indiana Wesleyan 92-81. So hey, won a game in the tournament. Eventually lost, but good on them. And now Hayden's going to be on our airways a lot here in the next few months since he's our guy now.
Yeah, he got his internship in, and proud of Hayden. You know, he's come a long
absolutely.
ways as a young guy. Kind of excited to see where it goes for him.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's what he wants to do and everything. And
Yeah, we're gonna keep him busy, and it's gonna allow us to cover more things going on. We're about to be busy. A lot of baseball coming up, and softball. We're about to be everywhere. It's gonna be. Hey, I'd rather be busy than bored.
that's it.
That's it.
That's right.
All right, big fella. It's a good first breakfast with X Sports. We'll do it again next Sunday at
That's it.
8:30. All right. See you guys. We'll see you guys. Well, Monday. We got a big one
Yeah,
coming
tomorrow
up.
night.
Loretta and Lawrence County. We'll see you.